there were several injuries that I had that have actually, this is the first time where my injuries have been improving and healing over the course of a training cycle, not developing and presenting themselves and getting worse. Jordan's a chiropractor. He works at Boss Barbell Club. He's also now a powerlifter, so he's very strong, but he's competing. His skill levels, he's a beginner. He's only done one meet, but he likes to help out at the bigger meets when we have people come in, and he'll help out anybody who wants free work done on them during the meet. But for me, I've been seeing him at least once a week, sometimes twice a week over the last basically all my training for Boss of Bosses 2 all year until now, and Boss of Bosses 3. At first, he really helped put some of the ribs back in my back that were out of place and loosen up some of my upper and lower back. That was like the initial thing that was actually sort of chiropractic work, but mostly what he does is he mostly does active release techniques, or ART, which is basically loosening up muscles. He'll use a blade to kind of scrape away scar tissue or loosen up scar tissue, which is called Graston. So he does quite a lot of things. And then the thing that's also been really helpful, you do some stretching, like PNF style stretching, which is basically it's a stretch where you're actively pushing and then resting, but against the assistant of the assistant helping you with the stretch. So it's a very good way to allow the muscle to take on a greater range of motion, but with resistance, and that seems to be more effective. So overall, he's been helping me loosen up my hips a lot. I went from where last year I'd walk around at the mall or Costco or IKEA and I just feel like I was just aching and constantly wanting to sit down. But now I've been doing a lot of stretching on my own and then stretching with him or ART with him. So that's been helping a lot, relieving a lot of the tension in the hips and the inner thighs. I mean, there's a lot to it when you can be loose during the day, so your muscles actually rest while you're not training, and then when you go to train, they can activate with much more force. So it's been keeping me a lot fresher, and I've been able to actually start training and reduce a lot of the pain in my knee and hip. So the other thing I've been doing is, his wife is also a chiropractor. In her office, they've got some lasers. So for a while, she was helping me with my collarbone that was healing, using the laser and Graston on that. And then more recently, she's been using an LED laser on my knees. And yeah, it's been helping a lot. This is the first time in a while my knees haven't hurt. And that's where I was kind of saying, like, I'm getting to the end of the training cycle, realizing, if I had more time, I feel like my training is going to keep getting better. So it's pretty nice to have a team, a team of people that are really looking out for me and helping me. So there was one point when I was, looking at my collarbone injury, like, man, I might not be able to come back and lift again, at any point ever. And turned that corner finally, and with all the help that they've been doing on my hips and knees, now I feel like my next meet and my next meet after that, I'm just going to be building my strength back. So it's great.
Let's get Let's go,
interesting thing with him is every week it's something else. Like, you squat that much, you deadlift that much, you bench that much, something's gonna rear its head if one thing is off. It's like, to me, it's like a really big Fabergé egg. You don't want to hurt him, right? But so if you veer too far one way and you cause them pain, or you don't get them better, then that's measurable in pounds or kilos, right? Like, there's a noticeable difference. But the same thing goes the other way. If you hit it on the mark and he gets better, that's extra reps, extra pounds. So it's kind of gratifying, because like, I follow him closely. I'll watch his videos, and I watch him through a different prism now, because it's like, I'll look at his technique more. But before, I was just kind of like, oh my God, he lifts so much weight. And now it's like, okay, like, how are his hips descending? Are they even? Are his knees caving in? Are his legs driving properly? Are they driving balanced? So I can kind of keep an eye on him. And I know when he lifts and what he lifts when. So it's like, every night I can sort of keep an inventory and be like, okay. And then the next day, hey, how you doing? Good. And if something's wrong, then it's a quick fix. He's right here, and then he's back in the gym. So it's been interesting getting to work with someone like that, because it forces you to be better, because he's at a level where he is where he is, and he is who he is because of what he knows. Like, brute strength and you know, grinding and grit and all that like bullshit can only get you so far, right? Like, all the guys who just try and make a persona like out of the sport, who only gets you to a certain point. Like, you got to be smart. Like, you can put furniture in the room, you gotta have steel in the fucking walls, right? And that's where he, I think, excels past a lot of other guys. Is he's read textbooks that I've had to read. Like, a teacher has given me this book and said, here, you have to read this, you're gonna get tested on this in like 12 weeks, so you better know it. So he'll quote stuff like, I'm like, dude, why do you know that? You don't need to know that. So it keeps you sharp. But at that point, if you try to stay one step ahead of him, it'll make you better in the long run. So, I mean, obviously, owe my practice to him for letting me work here, but I wouldn't be able to sustain a practice if it wasn't for him kind of upping the ante every week. It's like, well, it could be this, it could be that. Where most people come in, they know what they know at their own job, and then they delegate this kind of stuff to someone like me. And so if they come in, it's like, oh, I think I've pinched a nerve. Okay, no, he probably didn't, but all right. But when he says, hey, I think it's this, you can probably take that to the bank, that that's probably what it is. So it's a different kind of like power dynamic, where most people come and they look for direct answers, and you're kind of responsible to tell them the right thing, where with him, it's almost like adaptable, where he says, I think it could be this, and I carry that with more weight than maybe I would someone else, maybe someone who's less educated or less kind of aware of their body, and just because he's thrown so much at it that, I mean, it would be wrong to kind of throw his opinion aside, because he probably knows better than anyone.
Yeah.